Good day, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, wherever you're joining us from. Virtual session. Please, can you use the chat box? So first and foremost, tell me where you are joining from. In addition to that, I want you to just use the chat box to tell me how it has been for you in the past 5 days. How has it been like for you coming on every day with loaded content back to back? Please, can you hear me? Okay, okay. I wanted to be sure you can hear me. Okay, so oh, someone is joining us from Lagos. Oh, okay. I know today is Friday. Thank God it's Friday. Thank God it's Friday. So let's just finish strong. Let's finish strong. Let's go to the chat box and tell me how the session has been like for you. For me, it has been beautiful. It has been lovely. It has been a moment of learning, relearning, and unlearning. You know, there are some things that you would hear a totally different way. The session from Dr. Abdul Fattah yesterday was, I've had that topic before, but the way he put it was just something totally new, and it's still so fresh in my mind. It's still so fresh. Please, can we also reach out to our family, reach out to our friends, tell them that we are live on today's session. So I can see someone joining from Abuja. Let's get our friends to come online. Tell them that the session has started. And I'm not going to be doing this alone. We came also with double dose of joy. So my co-moderator today is no other than Coach Ayoluwa Dideji. Oh, my name is Super O. Any other Super O is a counterfeit. The one and only Super O. Yes. My full name is Coach Odunayo Adigbaju, but that Super O is very, very sweet. So once you hear Super O, it is only me that bears that name in the whole wide world. So Coach Ayoluwa, please, can you introduce yourself briefly? Coach Ayoluwa, can you hear me? Please unmute yourself.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I can.
All right. Good evening, Super O. Good evening, everyone. I'm sure everyone can hear me, right?
I can hear you.
All right. I'm so excited to be here this evening. My name is Coach Ayoluwa Adedeji. I am the founder and the lead consultant at the Mother Family Focus, and I will be moderating too for this session. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for that a brief introduction of yourself. Yeah. So Superho is a teens and an adolescents coach. I am the project initiator of Visionary Voices that centers on um, helping youthful create helping youthful artistry, creating youthful artistry. Yes, creating youthful artistry. So that's what we do at Visionary Voices. Thank you, Coach Ayoluwa. Yeah, today's session is loaded. And before we bring our facilitators online, I would like to bring in Coach Hamina. She has something interesting. She has something beautiful to share with us.
Hey, hello everyone. Good evening. Good evening. How are we doing? So,
Fine.
All right. Thank you so much, Coach. No, Super O. Thank you so much, Super O. Thank you, Coach Ayoluwa Adedeji, for also standing in and beautifully for the moderation tonight. Okay, it's been amazing 5 days. It's been incredible. It's been immersive. And of course, I also need to acknowledge that at this point, I think a lot of people are just in that zone where you want to get to You want to get home and rest. You want to get home and just not have to listen to Amina do much or listen to Amina or hear anything again. However, these two sessions that we have for you today are ones that we cannot afford to share with you, particularly because after listening to myself and Dr. Adeyemi, what we did was just to scratch the surface. What we have tonight are people who are willing to spend time with us and share with us from their depths of expertise on what it really means to, number one, navigate stress as a parent effectively so that you can have, avoid the maladaptations of stress as a parent in your health, in your well-being, and overall between your parent and child relationships. And finally, we'll also have someone who is going to use his expertise in the IT world help you talk to us about those things we need to do, that we need to set up on all our devices that protect our children from cyber predators. But more importantly, also help us to create a family digital plan such that you will be able to monitor and adhere to the screen time each member of your family, particularly your children, use. So we agree that, of course, we know we can't escape the digital world. AI, everything is advancing. However, can we manage our homes effectively? I definitely believe we can. And that's why we say that tonight's session, even though it seems like, oh God, I just want to rest. Trust me, I feel the same way too, knowing that there's still something powerful waiting for us tomorrow. But I want to thank those of you who are showing up here tonight to say thank you for being here consistently the last 5 years. Thank you for showing up, not just for yourself, not just even for your children, also for the generations that will come through you as a result of you, imbibing everything that we have learned. The reason I'm actually being the one introducing Dr. Aisha Nabila Adowanka today, apart from the fact that she's somebody that, I met just recently, a couple of years ago, but she has earned a powerful, very amazing space in my heart because of just the wonderful work she and her partner, Dr. Sarah Modibo, is doing in Deo Africa. But beyond that, I also wanted to use this opportunity to thank each and every one of our sponsors for making this happen. It has been 5 powerful days of intensity, of intentionality, and immersion on learning, relearning, and learning new things about our parenting strategies. But we couldn't have come this way, trust me. JSI is still a small business compared to the sponsors that have come to our aid, ensuring that we're able to come through for each and every one this past few days. And we are so grateful to them. And I also want to thank my team. When I started this journey like 3 months ago, I didn't know how it was going to turn out. But each time that I say, I think we're going to do this, I just hear my team, every one of them saying, Coach Amina, what do you need? Coach Amina, I'm ready to help you with this. Coach Amina, even tonight, I was supposed to be the one who was doing the solo moderation, considering that I know I've stretched a lot of them out throughout the week. As soon as I said, my tired is tired, I just felt 2 people who said, don't worry, we'll help you handle it. And that is how beautifully, that is how powerfully, that is how amazing each one of my team members have been this week. And in fact, the last 3 months. So I want to thank them, all our moderators, the moderators for the teen sessions, all our moderators for the parent session. Thank you. Thank you. We wouldn't be here without you guys. So thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are here, kindly just say thank you, thank you, thank you to the entire Parenting Summit team, from the facilitators to the moderators, to the people at the back end that you haven't even seen or heard their faces, to the people at the physical event will be meeting tomorrow. Please, in the chat box, help us say thank you to the entire Parenting Summit team, because without them, God, imagine having to do the many work that we've done alone. I'm pretty sure that I would have just have said, I'm not doing it again, this is enough. But because of them, and because God blessed me with them, we are able to pull 5 amazing days of parent session, 4 incredible days of teen virtual sessions, and we're going to have an amazing time at a physical event tomorrow. So I wanted to use this opportunity to thank them. Now, Yes, they're all beautiful souls, Mariam. They really are. Thank you so much. Now, at this juncture, without wasting so much time, when I asked her to send me her bio, in the way that she is, because she's just that elegant, she sent me a two-line bio. So I'm just going to do justice with that two-line bio, but first introduce the company through which I met her, and that is Deo Africa. One of the amazing things about Deo Africa is that they are not just for women, they are by African women. They're not just for African women, they are by African women. If you've ever been to an African hospital, anywhere in the African continent, and you begin to think about the many houses you go through, whether in the terms of having to speak about the female anatomy based on your needs and your wants in the medical term, and when you're having to speak to a male who's just looking at you and can only relate with you based on what he knows theoretically, you can understand how beautiful and how interesting it is to find a company, a medical company that is solely built for African women and is run by African women who can relate to everything feminine. And that's why I love Deo Africa so much. And not only have they wonderfully chosen to be a part of this virtual session, they are also going to be giving our girls at the physical event tomorrow free medical checkup, what we call the free puberty checkup. So everything that has to do with their menstruation, that has to do with them growing up appropriately in the pubertal adolescence period, they're going to be giving them advices, checking them up in a non-invasive way. And I want to use this opportunity to say, thank you, Dr. Zara. Thank you, Dr. Nabila, for choosing to do this. Now, on today's topic about understanding your stress as a parent and okay, I forgot the rest of it. Understanding your stress as a parent. Dr. Nabila Aisha Adowanka is uh, is a is a consultant anatomic pathologist and managing partner for Deo Africa, and she's going to be coming on board very shortly. Yes, I'm really tired, trust me. She's going to be coming on board in the next few seconds to come to share with us what are the things that we need to know about stress as parent, and what are the untold things, the untold impact it has on us, not just between our parent-child relationship, but on us as individuals in our health, and what do we need to do to prevent it or to manage it better. So Dr. Aisha Nabila Adowanka, when I mentioned your name or when I shared your name today, I've had two people reach out to me and say, I know this lady, she's awesome. So thank you again for doing this. Welcome on board. And please, ladies and gentlemen, give her a virtual round of applause as she comes on to say, to share with us what we need to do. Thank you very much, Dr. Nabila. The floor is
Thank you,
yours.
Amina. Thank you, Amina, for the introduction. You're really tired.
Trust
You've
me,
been doing
I
a
am.
wonderful job.
Thank
Congratulations on your summit.
Thank you so much.
So let's see. Can I share the screen? Okay.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
Okay. Can you see it? Can you see my
Yes,
screen?
we can see it. Yes, we can see it.
Okay. All right. So good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Wanka from Deo Africa. And this evening, I'll be sharing some tips we can use to manage stress. I don't think I have to define what stress is. We all live in, well, I'm assuming we all live in Nigeria, and we know how stressful it is right now to live in Nigeria. But stress simply means anything that causes you undue pressure. And usually that stress is associated with an overwhelming sense of worry and anxiety. So you're always thinking about that stress. You're thinking about how do I overcome it? And, people react differently to stress factors. Something that might be stressful for somebody might not be stressful to somebody else. I know someone that thrives in high pressure conditions. I'm not naming names, but she's on this call. She absolutely thrives on high pressure conditions. So the hotter it is, the better she works, the more she gets to accomplish. Stress can be good if it's in small amounts and it helps us to overcome an obstacle. So for instance, as a parent, if you have to help your child with a last-minute school project, you need that extra boost of stress, that extra push to help you overcome it. Or if you're at work and you have a deadline, that short burst of stress can help you overcome it. So that is okay. But any stress, anything that is excessive or that is prolonged and it begins to impact our physical health or our emotional well-being, our psychological health, even our finances, then that is what we call a really stressful situation. Stress can manifest itself in very many ways. The one that everybody is most familiar with is the emotional stress, you know. So people are irritable, they're angry, but people don't realize that when you're stressed, your body tends to act up, and then you begin to manifest physical symptoms of stress as well. I'm sure we've all heard of stories where they say, oh, someone just suddenly slumped and died from a heart attack. The person was apparently normal or apparently healthy, and they just slumped and died. That could have been a manifestation of stress. So this evening, I'll try and give us a few coping mechanisms that can help us dampen the negative effects of stress in our lives. If you would indulge me, I want to see if this video would work. So this video is trying to explain to us some of the coping mechanisms for stress. It's just a 2-minute video.
So Nabila, we can't hear anything. Is that supposed to be the case?
You can't? No, you're supposed to hear it.
Okay, so maybe you need to enable the audio from the back end. You can stop share and then enable audio before you share. Thanks.
My audio is enabled. I don't know what's wrong. Okay, it's fine.
Okay.
Do you want me to send you the video?
Okay, send me the link and I'll just play it from here. Yeah.
Okay.
Is it sent?
Yes, it's sent.
Okay, sent.
Life's demands with no time to stop. But becoming more aware of your own thoughts and feelings and what's around you, and accepting the present moment can help improve your mental health and well-being. Doing this affects both the mental and the physical you. Some people call this being more mindful. Focusing on the present means paying attention to your thoughts and feelings right here, right now. Breathing exercises are a great way to focus on the present and be more mindful. Doing this can also help when you're feeling stressed or anxious. This short video will take you through how to do a mindful breathing exercise. Firstly, settle into a natural, comfortable position. When you're ready, take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Breathe naturally, noticing the sensations of the breath entering and leaving the body as best you can. Allow your shoulders and neck to relax, focusing on your breathing, just being aware of it. Focus on how your body feels. What sensations do you notice? Do you feel your feet on the floor or the feeling of your clothes on your skin? Take this time to pay close attention to physical sensations, from the top of your head right down to your toes. Notice what you're thinking about right now and how you're feeling. Just take the time to notice your thoughts and feelings without judgment and without trying to change them. When you're ready, take one more breath and try to bring this awareness with you into the next moments of your day. Breathing techniques like this one can help to center you in the moment at any time and connect you with the present, which can help if you're feeling stressed or anxious.
All right, thank you. Okay, so we'll come back later to the breathing mechanisms, and the video would also be shared with you by Coach Amina. So it's very important that we, first of all, we identify what it is that is making us stressed. Some people might not be able to easily identify their stressors. Not every cause of stress is easily defined. And the first thing to do when we're trying to manage stress is we always ask our clients, what do you think is causing your stress, for some things that are not very obvious? The most common symptoms of stress and for some people, they might begin to experience feelings of sadness, or it might tip them towards being depressed. And for these people, for many people, they have an underlying mental health condition. And when they're stressed, it just sort of exacerbates those mental health conditions, and then they enter into a mental health crisis. So it's very important for us to be able to identify what our stressors are, and also to identify that these feelings that we have, they're not just normal feelings, they're actually feelings caused on by these stressors. We can experience feelings of being overwhelmed, like every task is overwhelming. Every effort that we put into doing things, it seems as if we can't overcome it. We have difficulty in concentrating. So the tasks that you used to be able to do so easily, you're having problems focusing on that task. Or you might start doing the task, but you're not able to complete it. There are people where when they're so stressed, they actually go to work, but they're not able to concentrate on work, and they're just counting down until the time where they close off work and go back home. It can also manifest as changes in sleeping habits. When some people are stressed, they might end up sleeping so much. They just sleep, wake up, eat, and then go back to sleep again. While for some people, it manifests as difficulty in sleeping. So if they used to sleep maybe 6 hours in a day, when they're stressed, they might just sleep maybe 2 hours in a day, or they might just wake up in the middle of the night at 1 or 2 a.m. and they can't go back to sleep because they're just constantly feeling anxious or worrying about that stressor. Another common one is mood swings or changes in mood. This is very common. 1 minute you're okay, you're your normal self, and then when you think about that stressful situation, then it's either you become sad, or you become very low, or you become angry. People are irritable, or they have a short temper. So the slightest thing, the slightest thing tends to annoy them. And unfortunately, we tend to hit back at those people that are closest to us. So as parents, it's usually their children or their spouse or even their co-workers. And then difficulty relaxing. Some people say this is a no-brainer because how can they relax when they're so stressed up? They know that they have something ahead of them. Another not so common symptom or something that isn't typically associated with stress is changes in eating habits. So there are some people that when they're stressed, they tend to eat more, not less. So they tend to eat more food. And unfortunately, the types of food they eat are foods that are very high in calories. So junk food, chocolates, ice cream. They wouldn't reach for like a carrot or a cucumber. They would look for something that is high in sugar. While for other people, they tend to eat less and then they begin to lose weight. Then there are other symptoms such as aches and pains. So this is one of the cases where, as doctors, we tend to tell people that not every ache or muscle pain or headache is malaria. We have patients that are in high pressure jobs and they almost every month tend to self-medicate for malaria because it's always one thing or the other. Either they're having headaches or they're having what they think is fever or they're having muscle pain and they just immediately assume it's malaria. Even if the lab test turns out to be negative, but they say, no, but I know what malaria is. I know what I feel when I have malaria. This is malaria. And it takes constant counseling to let them know that the symptoms you're feeling are just manifestations of the stressful condition that you're in. And I know someone who, after leaving that particularly stressful job, no longer had to treat themselves for malaria every month. And they realized and they admitted that, oh, those symptoms I had were actually due to the stress that I was going through at that time. Stress can also manifest with low self-esteem. So people would start believing that they're less than what they are and that they can't achieve what it is that they've set out to do. It can also manifest with physical symptoms like diarrhea, constipation, especially for short-term stress or feelings of nausea or dizziness. There are 101 symptoms of stress. These are just some of the more common ones. And it's important for us to be able to, if we deviate from what we know to be normal for us, it's important for us to take note of that and then try and determine what it is that is causing this deviation from normal. The first thing that we usually discuss with clients when we're trying to manage them for stress is that, number one, like I mentioned, you have to identify what it is that is causing the stressful condition. And then you have to realize that it's causing a significant damage to your quality of life. So you have to understand that when you're stressed, it isn't just you that it affects. It isn't just your emotional or your physical or your psychological well-being that is affected, but it rolls down into your relationships with people. So when you're stressed and you have children, they tend to pick up on the fact that mommy or daddy are stressed because they know that there's something off with them. Either maybe you're short-tempered with them or you don't have as much time to sit with them, or just your aura is off. They tend to know. And especially when we start rolling out our stressful situations onto our children, we start acting out on them, then it becomes a problem. Or even if it's not our children, on our spouses, on our co-workers, then you know that you have to take action. You have to find something to help with that stressful situation. We advocate for people to practice what we call the 4 A's of stress management, which is avoiding unnecessary stress, altering yourself to that stressful condition. If you can't avoid or alter, then you have to adapt to it. If you can't avoid, alter, or adapt, then you just have to accept that this is a situation that you can't change, and then find another point of focus for it. So when we say to avoid unnecessary stress, we mean that, for instance, learning to say no. So either in our personal life or in our professional lives, we need to learn to say no. We all know what we can cope with and what we can't cope with. We don't need to add more stress into our lives than we can manage. If there's something or someone that is causing you stress, either you reduce the amount of time you're spending with that person or you completely cut off the relationship. If you can't avoid that stressful situation, then you can alter it. So for instance, that person that is causing you stress, since you can't avoid that person, what you do is you have an open and honest conversation with them. You express your feelings in an honest way, and you try and resolve your differences. For adaptation to stress, what this means is, like, for instance, maybe you're in a traffic jam, which is very common in Lagos. Instead of complaining about being in that traffic jam, what you can do is you can adapt to it. So you can either listen to an informative program on the radio, or you can listen to a podcast or an ebook, or you can simply switch off the radio and have a me time until you go home. And then accepting stressful conditions, where we'd mentioned that there are some stressful conditions that you can't avoid, you can't alter, you can't adapt to. For instance, the loss of a loved one or huge financial loss, you can't avoid them or alter them. So in those situations, what you do is you try and incorporate other stress management practices into your life. And you should also try and be grateful for the other aspects of your life that are going well. One of the most important things to do that we can do when we're stressed is that we should reach out and talk to people that we trust within our circles. It could be a trusted family member, it could be a cleric, it could be a co-worker, someone that we trust, that even if the person doesn't give us advice on how to overcome that situation, but for the fact that we're able to express ourselves, it sort of relieves that stress. And then do something that you enjoy. So if you're a social person, go out more, interact with people more. You can join a gym, or you can join a club. You can join support groups, either online or physical. If being around people isn't your thing, then whatever it is that makes you happy, reading a book, going for walks, having just some quality family time, those are things that you can do. And then also be mindful, practice mindfulness. Take the time out of your day or week, if you can, and just focus on yourself. Practice deep breathing exercises. Deep breathing exercises actually work. It isn't just some psychological gimmick. It actually works. So, like for me, for instance, when I'm stressed, I just calm down, empty my mind, inhale, and then let go. Because sometimes when you're stressed, especially when you're around people, you can act out in a very antagonistic manner, and you don't want to do that. So breathing exercises are very important. And also with breathing exercises, once you're able to effectively control your emotions, your body itself would adapt and release more hormones that would help you combat stress. And another thing is I know almost every forum we're in, we talk about eating healthy and exercising, but these two are always very important. Whatever it is that we're talking about, they're always very important. Junk food or food that is high in sugar or caffeine or alcohol, these are things that actually cause stress to our bodies. And so it's important that once we begin to feel a little bit stressed out, we shouldn't reach for those particular classes of foods. Go back to your salads, your fruits and vegetables, because you don't want to add more stress to your body. And exercise as well. Exercise releases what we call happy hormones called endorphins. They help to combat some of the negative effects of stress. So even if it's just walking for 15 minutes in a day, even if it's around your home, around your compound, on your street, within your estate, try and have a little bit of exercise. And then we should learn how to manage our time better, especially when we're stressed. Well, it doesn't really, you would think that time management pertains to work, but it also pertains to home management as well. Not every task is for you to do. You can delegate. And there are some tasks that are so big that you should be able to break them up into smaller chunks and tackle them one block at a time. We've talked about reaching out and connecting to people who make you feel good. So the point of this is people who make you feel good. There are some people that even if you reach out and connect to them, they'll just make you feel worse. So you don't want to be around those sorts of people. You want to be around people that will calm you down, that will make you laugh, that will take your mind off what it is that is stressing you. And then get restful sleep. This is so important. Sleep is what helps us to recalibrate after a busy day. So like Coach Amina now, after this forum, Coach Amina and her co-workers, after this forum, they would need to catch up on much needed sleep. And then how do we know when to seek help? This is a very difficult one to talk about, but I would say that by the time the symptoms you're experiencing begin to negatively impact you, your family, and other people around you, then you know that you need to speak with someone. You've tried all the coping mechanisms and none is working, then you might need professional help. And professional help could be in the form of either life coaches like Coach Amina, or psychologists or psychiatrists. You can also seek help for particular symptoms that you're feeling. Some people, when they're stressed, they begin to have palpitations, their heart beats louder. They can actually feel it, and that's a bad symptom to have. That could point towards someone having a heart condition. So you should talk to a cardiologist, get checked out for that. Also, our sugar control tends to become erratic when we're stressed. And so people who are maybe diabetic or they're borderline diabetic, they might begin to have problems with their blood sugar. So you might need to have that also checked out. So this would be a good time to discuss briefly what it is that we do at Deo Africa. So as Coach Amina has said graciously at the beginning of this talk, Deo Africa is a clinic that was founded by women for women only. We're a hybrid clinic, meaning that we have a clinic in Lagos where you can come in and speak to female specialists, either consultant gynecologist or family physicians, neurologist, dietitian, nutritionist. Or if you're not able to come to our clinic, then we can arrange for a virtual consultation for you, either on WhatsApp or phone call or Zoom or Google Meet. And the whole aim of this is that we don't want to give women any excuse for them to put their health at the back burner. Women are so busy taking care of the family, taking care of the children, going to work. They keep on saying, okay, I I have this headache or I have this migraine. I'll get it checked out, but not now, not now. Maybe after this summit or after this meeting or after this retreat. But if you know that you can simply pick up a phone call and talk with a specialist doctor, then you're going a long way towards improving your health. We also provide laboratory tests and radiological services. We have a community of females called the Debo Tribe. You can subscribe to that. The Debo Tribe would give you access to discounts on most of our services, the consultations, the lab tests, the radiological tests. You can have free access to some of our programs. We also have a community for university students called Dash. It's sort of like a community where they come together, they receive mentorship, and they also have discounts to many of our services. You can please go on our website. It's called www.deboafrica and see the wide range of services that we offer. You can book a consultation online, or if you're unable to do that, you can call us or send us an email. This is also our Instagram handle, so you can check us out. Thank you. I'm open if you have any questions.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nabila, for teaching us how to manage stress. Please permit me to say you are beautiful. and your voice is just reducing the stress. Please, I hope we cannot testify.
I have a cough. I was
How
hoping
we
to
cannot
stop.
testify to that soothing voice of yours. Thank you very much, Ma, for that session. So if you have questions, please let's use the chat box to send in our questions. And I also know that with your session yesterday, Coach Amina led us on the topic, what is your PS high? And we had a number of people saying 31, 30 something. With your talk now, I'm sure it would have gone to the low stress level. So we have a question here. The question says, okay, let me pick it quickly. I know of a toddler's mother who says she doesn't feel stressed and she has high BP.
She has high blood pressure.
Yes.
But she doesn't feel stressed.
Yes.
She herself is not stressed. It's possible. It's possible that she's not experiencing symptoms of stress, and it's also possible that her body is letting her know that you're actually stressed. Maybe she's coping effectively with it, but maybe her high blood pressure is also another way of her body telling her that you need to get some tests done.
Okay, thank you very much, Ma. So another question here says, what if I can't sleep and I am not stressed? My BP is rising. I want to sleep, but I don't know what to do.
Yeah, so that's also very common. You need to walk into any clinic and have a couple of tests done. So not being able to sleep, there are some people that naturally they can exist on very little sleep, but that's not what the human body is conditioned for. So you need to have a series of tests that will determine what it is that is making you not able to sleep. And then, because before any doctor can even begin to think of giving you any sedative, they need to know what it is that is causing that sleeplessness. There are sleep specialists. They're actually sleep specialists. I'm not sure if we have any in Nigeria, but I can do the research for you and send the link to Coach Amina. But I know across the world there are sleep specialists that you can talk to, and then they'll manage your condition.
Okay.
But what you shouldn't do is you shouldn't buy any over-the-counter medication for sleep. You shouldn't buy things like Panadol night. They're just short-term relief. You need to understand what it is that is causing your sleeplessness.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much, Ma, for your session. See the way I'm just smiling. Okay, so we have another question here that says, sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night and then sleeping becomes a problem. Please,
Yeah.
just one
So
minute. So how does that person get help? Could it be
okay. So it's
associated to stress?
yeah. So it's similar to the question of the first question that I just answered. Are you? It may be that you're stressed, but you don't realize that you're stressed. There are people that on the surface, it seems like they're coping with any challenge that life throws at them. They're coping well. That's what it seems like on the surface. But subconsciously, your body is letting you know that whatever thing that it is that you're going through that you think you're overcoming, it's actually stressing you. So you need to speak with someone to get to the bottom of what it is that is causing your sleeplessness.
All right. Thank you very, very much, Ma. Please, can we go to the chat box and say thank you to Dr. Nabila? Let us go to the chat box and use our clap, our favorite emojis to say thank you. Ah, that voice, I need to go and prepare specially, to have that kind of soothing voice. But it's so beautiful to hear you. It's so beautiful to see your face. Thank you very, very much, Ma, for this session. Yeah, so you can see the feedback on the chat box. Thank you. It's really, really a lovely session. So right now we'll be taking adverts from our sponsors just to say thank you, because definitely without them and TSI, we would not be able to have all of this amazing time together. Admin, over to you. Is the volume, the sound. Thank you. Oh, so sorry about that. All right, so I would bring in my co-moderator shortly to continue from where I stopped and introduce our facilitator, our second facilitator for today. Yeah, but before I bring her on, since Dr. Nabina has explained to us and taught us how to manage stress, so I just felt I should ask. There's a song that I know that just comes to mind, and that song is "If You're Happy and You Know, Say Hooray." So go to the chat box and say hooray. So Coach Ayolua, the floor is yours.
All right. Once again, thank you to Dr. Nabila. That was a wonderful presentation. And truthfully, her voice is soothing. Even her voice is reducing my stress. Can we go to the chat box once again and say thank you to Dr. Nabila for this wonderful presentation? Once again, say thank you, Doctor, for this wonderful presentation. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Stress is a normal phenomenon, but it is what we don't normally talk about. Life is stressful. Parenting is stressful. That is why events like this is very important. We need it as parents. Thank you so much. We are glad to have you. All right, thank you. Thank you everyone for staying back. Thank you, Super O, for anchoring the first session wonderfully. Thank you. So right now we are moving to the workshop. Are we excited or are we still tired? We just learned about stress. If you are not tired, say, I am not tired. I am not tired. I am not feeling stressed. Yes, we are not feeling stressed. Thank you, everyone, for staying back. Yes, not tired, not tired. All right, our workshop, we are going to be talking about creating your family digital master plan. Not tired. Thank you, Dr. Bakari. No stress zone. Yes, Miriam, no stress zone. Thank you for that. Creating your family digital master plan. Yesterday, we talked about managing this digital surface. Digital time has come and it's not going anywhere. So as parents, it is paramount for us to learn how to manage the digital space. So our facilitator for this session will be Coach Olorunjube Ojomo. Before I bring him in, I would like the admin to play us the bio of our facilitator. Over to you, the admin.
Jube Ojomo is a dad coach, a trainer, speaker, and a family life practitioner with a strong background in IT. He has been using the family systems engineering process in his family for about 4 years and is still using it successfully. He left his home country, Nigeria, for the UK 2 years ago, where he has seen families disintegrate due to a lack of cross-parenting skills. He is driven by a strong passion to help fathers build a system and protect their families, and his goal is to help 500 African immigrant fathers who are struggling with cross-cultural parenting achieve a harmonious family life, improve family communication, build stronger bonds by the 31st of December 2025. He hosts the Better Dad podcast, where he shares insights on how fathers can become better fathers and husbands using HR principles in our ever-changing world. He loves HR projects management and he is an AI enthusiast. He lives in the UK with his wife, Adebi, and 2 lovely daughters.
All right, you're welcome back. So at this point, please stay away with every distraction. Get your writing material, I have mine here, and be ready to learn. Also prepare your questions. Put down your question in the chat box if you have any, even as the workshop goes on. So join me, you can put your hands together, and let's welcome Coach Olorunjube Ojomo. You are welcome, sir. You're welcome. You have the floor, sir. Coach Olorunjube Ojomo.
Thank you very much. I hope you can hear me clearly.
Yes, I can.
All right. I must say that I am stressed because I'm anticipating doing this and hoping that I can give value to all of you. So please let me tell Dr. Nabila that she needs to set up a clinic for men also. So let's start off immediately because I realized that today's Friday. We need to go home and sleep, right? So the question I want to start off with, there's a noise that I can hear from somewhere. The question I'm going to ask is the number 090919. Does it mean anything to us? 090919. Does it mean anything to anybody here? If it does, please let me see your answer in the chat. It's either a yes or a no. I cannot see any responses. Okay. No, 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 no. I expect that you will say no. Because that number may not mean anything to all of us here, but it means something to me. You see, for me, it's a date. It's the 9th of September 2019. That was the day that a therapist told me that I had to change my parenting style. You see, prior to this, what was happening is that my wife would sit with my 4-year-old daughter when it was time to do the school homework. But she would notice that she was restless. She was always fidgeting. She couldn't sit still. Initially, we already knew that she was a very active girl. So we always felt that maybe she should have been the boy, but she's active. But when it was time to do the homework, she was always fidgeting. And when questions was asked, she was always looking outside the window as if the answers would come from there. And then at the end of it all, she would say, "Oh, my stomach is aching." And then that would be the end of the homework. Of course, my wife said, she told me this problem, but I felt, you're too harsh on the girl. Maybe I'm a bit softer. Let me try and see what I can do. So I volunteered to be the one to go through the homework with her for the next 1 week. And during that 1 week, I must confess to you, I saw frustration. I screamed. I said the things that I shouldn't have said. Can't you see? This is so simple. This child is dull. All of this, of course, I'm ashamed that I said those things then, but I hadn't learned anything then. And so we decided to start checking what could be wrong. We went to the school, was the same thing, looking out the window, trying to get the answers, and then complaining. So we started trying to find out. And some doctors here will understand what we went through. Actually, at the end of it all, we found out that she has ADHD and some dyslexia. And so that's what led us to therapy, because therapy was going to solve it. And then just before the therapy started, the therapist said, you have to change your parenting style. Before this, I was just the parent who expected that, well, children should automatically become good people. But I learned that whenever I say I should, is not the same thing as I must. Because from then, what I began to see was that I used to say I should be a better parent. I should discuss with my children. I should not shout on my children. But then I began to see that it was a case of I must be a better parent. I must not scream at on my children, although sometimes I still make that mistake, but I'm still, improving. And then I must be a better parent. Ultimately, I must be a better dad. And so the journey started for me into becoming a better dad. I started learn from the IFED, and also learn from TSI, And of course, learning continues. But you see, as parents, one thing that we must learn is that the world is changing. No, let me rephrase that. The world is not changing. The world has changed. If you agree with me, just type a yes in the comments. Let me know that we are still together and you have not slept off on me. Because I'm not sure if people are still here with me or they are asleep already. The world has changed. In the past, we would say, I want to release a product in 2 years. I have a brilliant idea. If you try that today, no way. I'm sorry, that product would not survive. And that's why we have things like WhatsApp always updating. Instead of coming up with new products, they have WhatsApp, they have maybe, first of all, chats. And then after that, they will come up with things like group chats. And then they come up with video, and then there's video conferencing. And now we have communities. Things like this show that the world is, moving fast. And the customers want different things. So as an entrepreneur, you must change. Now, as parents, who are our primary customers? Can anybody answer in the chat? Who are our primary customers as parents? Thank you very much. Our children are our primary customers. And if they live in this world that is moving so fast, then it ultimately means we must move fast. We need to understand how that change is happening. We must understand not just our world, but also the world of our children. And that world of our children is the digital world. And I've read recently that the digital world is actually changing not just economies, but also societies. So now, what comes to my mind is the fact that we say the family is the basic unit of the society. If technology is changing society and families are actually the basic units of society, can we say that technology is changing families? What is our answer, please? I'd like to see your answer in the comments. Let me know if we are still together. I'm going to ask people to start unmuting themselves and giving me answers because I need to be sure that we are together. I don't want anybody to slip off on me. Yes, that's it. And this is what the family looks like these days. If you just wait for me, I would share my screen now so that you can see what families look like these days. Can you see my screen? Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir. We can't see your screen.
All right. So this is what we see these days. We have families who are alone together. Have you heard of that concept? Alone together. We have families that they're all together in the home, but nobody's talking to one another because everybody else is on their device. They're physically together, but they are not together. That is a phenomenon that is happening as we speak. People are always on their devices. This picture is even looking good because these ones are decided to be together physically. We have scenarios where people are in different rooms in the house and on their devices, but they are in the same family. But like we've said, technology has become omnipresent. We have smartphones, we have tablets, we have, everything that is there. And so as a result, we need to know that there's an impact on the family, like we've said. So the question I'd like to ask, and I want an answer, this time I want somebody's voice. I want to hear a voice. I want to know that I'm not the one doing all the talking. If you have a brand new car, you have a 15-year-old boy who has never driven a car before, that's your son, he has never driven a car before, and you're excited about the car, would you give him the key to drive on Lagos-Ibadan Expressway without learning to drive?
No.
Never. Never.
No, sir.
Never.
Expressway.
No.
Never.
No.
I agree with you.
Never.
But why is it that parents ask the wrong questions when it comes to technology? I've heard parents say, is it time to give my child a device? When the question should be, am I responsible enough to give my child a device? Why do I say so? Because when you want your child to be able to drive on the expressway, you would take him to a driving school. You would make sure he understands the guidelines and everything about driving before he goes on that highway. And so why would you let your child get onto the highway of the internet without that guidance? The highway of the internet, where you have things, all devices in the world, it's free access to porn addiction, to pedophiles and everything. So without that guidance, would that be right? And so that shows us that there's a need to have a plan. And so if we're going to look at this plan, what we are going to do is create our own family's digital master plan. It will be different from each family because it's our own family, right? So we'll look at how we can understand the impact of digital devices, align our digital habits with core values and goals, and then create our own digital master plan. But if we want to understand the impact of digital devices, let's look at it from two angles first. It's great. Devices are great. Whether we like it or not, the only reason why we are here and we can communicate this night is because of these devices. If we didn't have these devices, we would not be having these sessions. I would have to speak to one person and look for another person. We can't scale. Business would not be the way it is today. No, devices have really done great. You can check on Facebook and see friends you've never seen a long time from secondary school. You can chat up with them. You can sell to people across the world. You can make money. It's really great. However, there's a flip side to it, like we mentioned. I don't know if any of you heard about the recent riots in the UK about immigrants. The UK people said they didn't want any more immigrants. Did anybody hear about those riots? It happened just early August. How did it start? Let me quote a newspaper directly. It says that the Telegraph said Bernadette Spotforth, that's the name of a woman, 55, wrongly claimed on X, that's formerly Twitter, that the suspect in the killing of 3 girls outside a Taylor Swift dance class was an asylum seeker who recently arrived in the UK by boat. Meanwhile, that was not the name of the person at all. The name she gave was Ali Al-Shakati. She said her was the suspect and that he was an asylum seeker who came into the UK by boat last year and was on the MI16 watch list. But the person actually was born in the UK. He has never been outside the UK. You can see after she tweeted that there was great riot all over the place. Lots of people have been arrested. So many things were damaged just because of these devices. Now, I want you guys to get busy. I want you guys, fastest fingers. Coach Amina, I've not discussed it with you, but whoever gets this answer quickly, you have to buy the person 1 meat pie, maybe tomorrow when you see them. So the name is Wang Shang Kung. The Wang is the name, so you can spell W-A-N-G. Type in your devices quickly, and then the surname is S-H-A-N-G-K-U-N. Once you Google that name, just tell me what happened to the fellow. something will come up immediately. Just tell me what happened to the fellow. Anybody? Chat or unmute yourself and speak. Did you get the name? Wang space, that's the name. The surname is Shankun. ShnGkun. I can't see anything. I can't see the chat because I am sharing. Is anybody typing anything in the chat? What happened to that person? Or have we slept off? Admin, assist me. Are people typing anything in the chat? Or we don't have our devices?
Yeah,
So
people are
someone says
chatting.
that, okay.
He sold his
Someone
kidney.
said he sold his kidney.
Exactly. To do what? Buy an iPad and an iPhone. So we can see adults, 55-year-old woman, a young boy, a teenager. Technology has flip sides. There's the good side, there's the bad side. It's not only affecting the young ones, it's also affecting even the older ones. And so let's look at some research. This research says that adolescents, they were allowed to be in a camp for 5 days. They didn't let them use their devices, no devices for 5 days. And then, according to the authors, it says that they had decreased sensitivity to emotional cues. Losing the ability to understand the emotions of other people is a cost for using devices too much. You know, these days we would say that when we look at our children, the way our parents used to look at us, they don't understand. Yoruba will say, oh, Moju. During our parents' time, if they looked at you somewhere, maybe we were out and they looked at you with that kind of look,
Hello.
you understood how to
Hello.
immediately behave yourself. But these days, they don't do that. I'm not saying it's the research that said that, but the research says just 5 days without screen time, the adolescents improved their ability to correctly interpret other people's emotions, both in pictures and videos. Can we imagine? So now there was a survey that says that 6,000 children were, evaluated, and then the 54% of them, as you can see there, felt that parents spent too much time on smartphones. I know when we came into this class, we were thinking, yes, these children, they spend too much time on their smartphones. But what about us as parents? 32% of them felt that they were unimportant because their parents used their phone. So at this point in time, this is time for us to have activity. These 3 things, we are going to fall into breakout rooms. And when we fall into breakout rooms, we're going to look at this activity. I want to share our observations on 3 ways that technology impacts our own families. I want to estimate how long do we spend every day on screen. That includes if you are working on a computer screen in your house or even in the office, calculate all that time. It's still part of devices. So let's calculate all of that and then calculate how long our children spend on the screen. Admin, can we please split everybody into those, what's it called? What's that thing called now?
So I've created
Breakout
4
rooms.
breakout rooms, and
Yes,
it will be
breakout rooms.
automatically. Yeah, so I've created 4 breakout rooms. So we'll have people just choose whichever breakout rooms. It will be 16 people per room. So you deliberate on those rooms.
Those 3
Myself will be,
activities.
yeah, on those activities. Those 3 activities. We will share it in each room again. So you remember what it is that you're supposed to do. Okay, so Coach Ajoy, I shared the picture with you so that when you go to a particular room, you just share it with the group. Thank you.
Thank you.
here, not in any breakout room. Just join one. Just click the three buttons at the end of your Zoom app and join a particular breakout room. Sorry for those, and to those of us who are on YouTube and are just watching us, I'm sorry, there's nothing we can do about that. But we'll share our deliberations with you in a short while. Okay, so please keep faith with us. If you're still in the main room and you don't have a breakout room yet, join any breakout room that you want. That's okay.
Okay. Admin, are we back here? Is everybody back here?
Yes, for the
All right,
majority.
all right, all
Yeah,
right.
I think we're all here.
All right, that's fine. And I hope that we have seen that it's not that it's just the children who have to control device use, but even we as parents would also have to do that. I'm sure most of us would have gone above 10 hours every day in on screen if we calculate work and trying to sell to people and things like that. And so if we move on to the next activity, now we want to reflect personally on our core values. When you see that you spend so much time on screen, does it align with your value? If we say we want quality time with our children, with our families, and we are spending over 12, 10, 15 hours on screen, can we say it aligns with our values? So we really need to think about what values we have as a family. This will help us to start creating our master plan. We want to also think about how we can align technology with our values. If, for example, you have quality time as one of your family values, you may decide that, okay, we want to use devices to spend time together. And so you could decide that one of the things that we want to do is make sure that we keep our devices away. That's like our values to spend time together. So when it's time to eat, we will not have our devices. We'll keep them at one side. We want to talk without the devices. That could be how it would help you. For some persons, it may be a case of using devices, especially if you have older children, you may want to use devices to communicate throughout the day. Where are you? I'm heading back home. I'm stuck in traffic. So it depends on how we want to use it. It depends on our core values. Let's look at those values. Let's see how we can align those values with technology. Of course, because we are a family, we are unable to do it by ourselves. We need to get everyone involved. So this is the process so that we can have that family there, because we've said devices must be there. But you can see that this particular family are using device together. They are not alone together, but they are using their devices together. It could be that they are looking at something, maybe chatting with a family member, doing a video call, but they are still together as a family. And so the first thing I want to do after we start with the family is to start the conversation. And in starting the conversation, one of the things that we must learn is that we must include our children, we must include everyone, and the children must feel heard. One of the things I've learned about conversations is this: we shouldn't talk to the children, we should speak with the children. There's a difference. Because every single conversation carries an emotional content, and it's either pain or pleasure. You need to ask yourself, when you're sending it, is it going to be pain or pleasure? How does it sound to them? So when we get everybody involved in that, we need to also look at how we listen and how we communicate. Because before you communicate, you must become a master of your inner world and your own desires, and seeing how it impacts on people or the persons that you're speaking with. Remember, our intentions may be different from the impact and the interpretation. Look at those three eyes when you're conversing: our intention, our impact, and the interpretation. You notice that when you speak with people, it's the one who hears is the one who embeds what has been said more than the speaker. And that's why we will remember things that were told to us by our parents. But you may ask your parent now, they will never remember that they said that. So let's have the conversation, everybody together, and let's have an agreement on how we want to proceed. During that time, we also set very clear goals that are in line with our family values. If it's quality time, what do we want to do? Do we want to reduce the time that we spend on screen? Okay, I work 9 to 5. Does that mean that I shut down my screen at 5? That's laying good example. So I'll shut down my screen at 5 and I'll talk to the children and let them know, okay, so I have a business and I need to use the screen. So after we spend time between 5 and 8 p.m. and you go to bed, then I'll go back on screen and work till 10. But it's still letting everybody have those conversations, setting goals. If our goals is to reduce screen time, everybody knows, okay, we are reducing screen time. For example, in my own family, TV doesn't exist when it's school time. It's only during the holidays. The only time that we have TV time during school time would be on Fridays, where we have decided that, okay, we're going to do a movie night so we can spend time with the children and, talk to them and, be together. But it depends on what you want. So you have to set those goals clearly for yourself and your family. Then you will create a technology schedule and time zones. So this is what this means. In creating a technology schedule, you are saying that at so time, like I just said, by 5 p.m., there's a shutdown, there's a break, there's no use of screen until so time. For example, in my own home, once it's time for dinner, there are no more screens. And there is no screen in the children's rooms. That reminds me, there's a quote that I wanted to quote from a book named Indestructible. Indestructible, in that book, it says, there is little justification for allowing kids to have a television, laptop, or any other potential distracting external trigger in their rooms. These screens should be kept in communal areas. The temptation to overuse these devices is too much to expect our kids to manage on their own, particularly in the absence of parental oversight. And so for us, it's no screens in the room. Once it's evening after dinner, all screens go into my own room, away from the children. And that's the way we've agreed for it. And so the next thing is to model those healthy habits. Let them see that as parents, we are also following the rules that we have given. If we need to break it, we would need to let them know, oh, sorry, there's an emergency. I need to make a call. There's a client that's called. I know this is not the time that I was supposed to. I need to make that. But it doesn't mean that we should keep doing that every time. Because I understand we can get away with it, but we should not get away with it. And on regular basis, you can decide how you want to do it. For example, for us, it's the last Fridays of every month. We would decide that, okay, we'll sit down together and look at the plans that we have. Is it still working for us? Do we need to tweak some things? So if we follow this processes, we would be able to come up with our own family digital master plan. And so I want to talk about briefly, because I don't want anybody to slip off on me, a few tools that we can use. I'm sure everybody's conversant with Google Family Link. If you go to Google, you want to set up for those that have children that are still younger and maybe children under the teenage years, Family Link is a very great tool that you can use. If you want to create an email address for them, in that instance, you will be asked for permissions that you want to allow them to have. In our own case, they don't have access to Google, to YouTube. We make sure that before they can download apps, I get a notification and I have to approve before those apps can be downloaded. And so you can do a lot with the Family Link. There's another one called Family Wall. The Family Wall is an app on its own. That one's an amazing app. If you have children that are older and, you can still use that with them because it helps you to have your to-do list. Everybody can have a to-do list as a family. We can plan events together. We can know exactly what will happen in the next couple of days. So everybody knows everybody's plans. If you want them to see it, if you don't, if you want a scenario where it's just you and your wife, that's also possible. If you want to have shopping lists, the kids are always excited about shopping lists. So we have a shopping list and we make sure they draw up the shopping list. These are things that help us to use the device in, a reasonable way, because it helps us to communicate as a family. And then for us as parents, we want to monitor our own time. Like we said, and like we've seen, I hope people are still with me, because I think I'm beginning to talk too much. I don't want to talk too much.
Yes, we're
Okay.
here.
All right. So for Apple Screen Time, what Apple Screen Time does is that it helps us, and I heard that there's a Android version of it called Digital Wellbeing. It helps you to know how long you have spent on your device. If you activate Apple Screen Time, to help you to know how many times you've picked up your phone that day, and when was the first time you picked it up. You'll be shocked that you see that you picked up your phone over 300 times in a day, and you wonder, are you not addicted to your device? So I heard that Google has, yes, Google at Android has their own version called Digital Wellbeing. And then, of course, we have WhatsApp. We can use it for persons who are older, like maybe teenagers. Have a WhatsApp group. We can have video calls. And, I want to keep it simple. I'm not going to details of other apps because there are so many apps there. But these apps are ones that I've used, and I'm sure it's comfortable, and everybody here will be conversant with these apps. And so I hope that I've been able to give you value at this point. And this is where you start to raise your hands and ask, and I start to think and answer your questions. I will stop sharing at this time.
Thank you so much, Coach Olorunjube. This is another wonderful session. What struck me at the beginning of this session was a question that you asked, sir. Instead of asking, when should I give my child a phone? The question we should ask is that, am I responsible enough to give a child a phone? That's awesome. Thank you so much, sir. We are grateful. We already have some questions coming in, and I'm going to take them one after the other as time permits. Please, if you still have questions, you can drop your question in, and I trust that our teacher will attend to them accordingly. A question says, my question is, at what range is a child supposed to be given a phone? At what range is a child supposed to be given a phone? Can you please attend to that, sir?
Okay. I do not have a range, and I would not suggest a range for any child. Why? Because in my own case, my children do not have, okay, let me say my 9-year-old daughter does not have her own device. There is a device at home that she can use, but it's for the home. It's not her own device. Now, my 13-year-old daughter has a tab, doesn't have a SIM card in it, right? And it is on Google Family Link. And so I'm able to lock the device. I've given her just 3 hours a day, and she needs to do certain things. Now, when I mentioned earlier that as parents, we need to ask ourselves the questions, am I responsible enough to give my child a phone? You need to know what the child wants to use the phone for. For example, is it just because you want to communicate with your child at school? Then you can get a phone that's not internet enabled. You do not, if it's for phone calls, you do not need an internet enabled phone. But if you talk about doing assignments at home from school, then you can have a communal, like said in that book, you can put a device in a communal area so that the child can do the assignment, and everybody, it's something that is exposed. So the child doesn't have the tendency or the temptation to go onto sites, because children are curious. Even as adults, we are curious, right? Yes. And you find that a lot of times we just keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. If we can do that, then what do we expect of younger children who do not have the guidance?
All right. Thank you, sir. There's another question. How do we manage doing homework with internet, which let children stay on screen despite the family plan?
Yeah, so for the homework, right? They usually have specific apps.
Yes, sir.
They usually have specific apps that they expect the children to do their homework in, right? Now, even if you have a family plan, if they want to do their homework at that time, you are asked as the parent to put in a code that will release the device for them to use. And so at that time, if you put in the code, then they can have access to it. But remember, you can also lock it by yourself. And if it's homework and you're home, why don't you take it as a time, if you're off work, as a time for you to join them in doing the assignments? It will also help you with bonding with them. I'm not of the opinion that you should leave children to do the assignment themselves. There should be some form of guidance, especially if they are still younger.
Okay. Thank you for that also. I have another question here, similar to the question you just answered, sir. How do I monitor a teen who tells you he has an assignment to do on the net, but I always feel he's doing more than an assignment or just want to do something else, like watching wrestling, music, etc.?
What I would ask is the device, is it his own? Is it a laptop? If it's a laptop, what I do personally is that the laptop that my child has to use, my teen has to use, is used in an area where everybody can see what she's doing. It won't be turned towards the wall. It's open, like the book said, a communal area. So when you're passing by, you can see, you can know whether she has gone off screen or which side she's going to. Because, remember, these things are designed in such a way that when there's a notification, it hits you and you want to go there. So sometimes they too, you can't blame them if we are experiencing that. So we need to help them as we are trying to help ourselves. Yeah, sin
All
tribes
right.
secrecy.
Thank you, sir. I'm going to take just yes, sir. Another question, sir. How did you manage ADHD, and dyslexia for your child with screen? I have a similar case.
Okay, yeah. So in my own, like I said, my daughter, the one that's 9 years old now, she's the one that has the ADHD and dyslexia. So what I do with her is that she knows already that screen is not good for her, right? And she knows that she must use screen to do certain things. And so it's always limited. For example, during school time, like I said, there is no screen. Now, if you come back home and you're expected to do homework or anything with the screen, we would do it together. But during the holidays, screens is limited. It's like back when we were younger in Nigeria, it would be a case of there has to be something that you're doing that needs you to be on screen. If it's family time on Fridays, we can sit together and watch screen. And then if it is on during the holidays, you can decide that, okay, you can watch screen between 4 and 7, but that's all. And that's all for the day, right? So I let her know, and she understands that screen is not exactly too good for you. You need to learn to read. We've got her involved in going to the library. She loves reading now. So she reads physical books, not screen books, but physical books. So you can get them to do that. Read physical books too. I can't hear you, but I can see somebody saying that they have children who maybe they play games on the phone. Hello?
Yeah.
I can't hear you clearly.
Hear you. Can I
Okay.
take the question?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, I can hear you, sir. Okay.
Okay.
In my case, I used Family Link where I monitor their time on the device. But I
Okay.
noticed that the eldest, that 15-year-old child, has developed a way of going through the browser to log into social media. I was surprised to know he has a social media. This is against the family value. How do I handle this, sir?
The family link that you have, the email address that he created, is it still linked to your family link? If it's linked to your family link, you should be able to control the time that he goes. You should be able to control even the permissions on his own email. He created a new one. That's where the thing is. He created a new one. That means it's not under your family link. If he created it, if it's under your family link, you would be able to monitor. So that means he has a device and he decided to create a separate one. You would have to talk to him. He's no longer under the family link. Yes, he may be a grown-up teenager. You may try and use the family wall if it's someone you can speak with, have a conversation with, because for us, what we did was to have a conversation with our children on the dangers in social media. A lot of children may not know the dangers that are there. So you need to sit with them and have those conversations. Pedophiles are there, there's porn addiction, there's so many things happening there. And that's the reason why we want to guide you. We're not saying you can't be on social media. We're not saying we want to monitor your social media, but we're trying to guide you so that you would not fall into that trap. So let him know that, your conversation with him is about having a shared sense of success. It's not about monitoring him, but it's about making sure that he understands the dangers that are in or on the internet and how he can navigate them. He needs to learn things about privacy and things that he cannot chat about because security and things like that. He needs to know these things or else he could be in danger. And that's the reason why you want to enlighten him and hope that he can, guide his way through the internet at that age.
All right, thank you, sir. You said that earlier that we should speak with our children and not talk to them. All right, thank you so much for this wonderful session. Can we please put our hands together and say thank you to Coach Olorunjibe Ojomo? Let's thank him. Thank you, sir. We hope to see you in another edition of this event. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. We have learned a lot and we are going on with a lot that you have taught us today. Thank you. God bless you. Now, before we shut down, I want to remind all of us that tomorrow we are having the completed if you fail to attend. So we are expecting all of you in the physical event. Also, all the sessions worth watching over and over. So the replay will be available on our YouTube channel, Timeless Soul Incorporation. Go to the YouTube, search for Timeless Soul Inc. You have the replay for all our sessions and you will not regret doing so. Thank you for joining us tonight. We are so glad that you made it through the last session of the virtual event of this year's edition. Thank you, thank you, thank you. God bless you. Admin, is there any information before we close down?
No, let's go. We're good.
Thank you, everyone. See you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Good night.
You.
For those of us
Night,
virtual, see you in
right.
2025 by God's grace. For those of us going live tomorrow, see you tomorrow by God's grace. Good night, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Jomo. Coach Amina, love you, love you, love you, love you. See you tomorrow. Abuja, we are coming live next year. Get ready for us.
So, now 300 naira one day our back.
You never hear of Goxi Microinsurance, the first licensed specialized microinsurance company for Nigeria, where they give cheap insurance cover with as low as 300 naira. Goxi Microinsurance get insurance products like Goxi Cooperative Welfare Scheme, Goxi My Business, Goxi Agri Loan Protection, and others wey go give us peace of mind.
We make we start now.
Goxi Microinsurance no dey give loan, but we go help you carry your wahala with our insurance package.
For more information, make you visit them office for Edward and Valeria Plaza, 107 Obafemi Awolowo Way, Ikeja, or make you call 0802-314-0939 and 0815-287-9591. Terms and conditions dey Goxi Microinsurance. Small money, big help. 100 naira, 200 naira, 300 naira. Mama Nkechi, oya take.
Wetin I wan carry 300 naira do?
Mama Nkechi, every day me and you go comot house go hustle for market. If